Arsenal are now trying to accelerate contract negotiations with William Saliba in order to push away interest from Real Madrid, the team that does not like to pay transfer fees, but they will go for your player for free. They've done it with Mbappe, they've done it with Trent, they've done it numerous amount of times, and now Arsenal are working to not let this happen again. And everybody and their mother thought that Saliba would eventually become a Real Madrid player. But then AFTV, an Arsenal fan TV, fan page came in and asked him, Saliba, when will you be signing the new contract? And he said, when am I going to sign the new contract? Hopefully soon. God is great. Hopefully soon. God is great, man. William Saliba, mate. That is how you decline Real Madrid right there. And when he extends that contract, I will be buying a jersey the day after of William Saliba. That would be the first defender that I get as a jersey, because this man is showing loyalty to Arsenal by saying, hopefully soon, God is great. He could have easily just been like, he could have just not answered the question, could have just changed the subject, could have just walked away, but he said hopefully soon, God is great. And there's been many reports that Saliba is actually very happy at Arsenal. The only thing, really stopping him from signing with Arsenal is that he wants to win trophies. So this year is going to be a very key year for Arsenal, because not only will you finally get over the hump on trophies, but you can keep players like William Saliba long term. Now, Real Madrid is a team that I really think is broke, though. Secretly, Barcelona has the big public eye and big reputation of being broke. They can't sign players, they struggle registering players. But the Christian Mosquera situation really opened my eyes and said, I think Real Madrid might actually be struggling financially. And this is due to that, big construction they did with the Santiago Bernabéu. They invested lots of money in rebuilding it. And they really wanted to make it like an NFL stadium, an NBA stadium, where yeah, your team's going to have home games, but you're also going to have big concerts. That's the whole meta. That you wanted to have big concerts, big artists, everyone. You didn't just want to have Real Madrid games. You wanted to have a lot of other events also in the Bernabeu. They wanted the Bernabeu to be kind of like SoFi Stadium. SoFi Stadium in LA makes money when the Rams aren't even playing. This offseason, they have tons of events there making money. Wow, if it's the Club World Cup, if it's the World Cup, if it's another sport, if it's whatever it is, concerts, there's always a way that SoFi Stadium is making money. They just had Kendrick Lamar. They just had, Raul Alejandro. They are selling out concerts, and they are making money even when the Rams aren't playing, even though this is the Rams Stadium. Real Madrid tried to do the same thing, but the thing is, tons of concerts have canceled on Madrid. So they are in heavy debt. They made a big investment trying to make that like an NFL stadium. So, Christian Mosquera from Valencia here, he was on the move. His contract situation was loved by Madrid because he was going to be a free agent next season. Then, he ends up actually going to Arsenal because Real Madrid wanted to wait it out till next season, get him on a free, because they didn't want to pay $13 million for him. But Arsenal said, you know what, we love the player, we'll pay the $13 million. And he ends up getting signed by Arsenal. They beat Madrid to it. Madrid, if you're such a big club, if you're such a, financially stable club, why is $13 million stopping you from signing Christian Mosquera after you are having problems in the center back position? It's came out that Xavi Alonso wants nothing to do with Raul Asensio. He likes Huijsen, he likes Rudiger. Militao, he likes him as well. He wants to get rid of Alaba. So you have this guy from Valencia that you love. 13 million is all it takes, and you don't want to pay that money. To me, that's moving like Barcelona. Actually, Barcelona probably would have bought him. I think Barcelona, if they were in on him and they wanted him, I feel like Barcelona would have got the deal done. But Real Madrid just let him fly by because they weren't willing to pay a transfer fee for him. So Real Madrid is really moving odd. And somebody needs to really take a look, because you also have the Konate situation. And I think eventually he will get to Real Madrid. But, it seems like Real Madrid isn't really the Galacticos anymore, because Liverpool are moving more of a Galactico than Real Madrid this offseason. And I will stand behind that, because Liverpool have signed Frimpong, Kirkes, Florian Wirtz, and everyone thought they're done. That was a great transfer window. If it would have ended there, everybody would have been like, Liverpool's done bids. But then they go out and get a young striker in Ekitike. They're the closest team to Isak. And Rodrigo wants Liverpool. So they could genuinely have a generational Galacticos transfer window. So it seems like Trent has left the Galacticos for Real Madrid. Yeah, that's how it's looking like. And then you have Konate. He seems like he's drawn to Real Madrid. You know, Real Madrid were really in on Konate and Saliba. It's looking like Saliba isn't going to go to Madrid. And obviously Real Madrid don't want to be spending close to 100 million. And they don't want to spend even 13 million. But then they were in on Rodri as well. And then Man City said it's going to be over 100 million. And then it came out right after Real Madrid are not making a move for Rodri this summer, despite reports in England and Spain. So what it looks like is Rodri went in and Real Madrid went and inquired and said, we want Rodri at Real Madrid after missing on Supermendy. And they were like, what's the asking price? He just came off a bad injury. And then Man City said it'd probably be over 100 million. And they said, we don't even want to pay 80 million for Saliba or Konate. So, no, sir, we can't even pay 13 million for Mosquera. And right now, they're just going to try to convince Konate to come on a free like Trent. That's what Real Madrid is doing. And to me, that's moving broke. This isn't the old Real Madrid. When Real Madrid was getting embarrassed and they went in and broke the record for Cristiano Ronaldo, brought in Kaká, brought in Benzema. You know, that's not the same Real Madrid no more. This is the Real Madrid that's going to flirt with you and try to get you on a free. And people are going to say, oh, man, we're actually moving smart. We're getting them on frees. Well, yeah, it worked out with Trent. It worked out with Mbappe. But it's not worked out with Saliba. It's not worked out with Rodri. It's not worked out with Supermendy. It's not worked out with Mosquera. It's not worked out in many places. And they got so, mad about it not working with these center backs that they went out and got Hoyson, which also works for them because he's Spanish. They struggled to get his release clause, which was fairly cheap. And then they ended up getting it done because they knew if you weren't going to get Hoyson, your center back, duo was going to be Rudiger and Raul Asensio. And Xabi Alonso is not convinced with Raul Asensio. So if you didn't come in and get a new center back, Xabi Alonso is going to be set up to fail. And that's the God honest truth, because you're going to have an attacking right back this season, unless Carvajal beats him to it. But when you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, you need to have a center back on, playing right next to him that you completely trust. And you're going to need another duo because there's going to be many times Trent is going to be caught off bounds. He can be a defensive liability at times. And so you need a solid center back duo. And if you're not convinced with Raul Asensio, then the Hoyson was 100% needed. And now they want Konate because obviously Rudiger's getting up there in age. Is Militao really going to be, solid? Is he going to be reliable when needed? You want to get rid of Alaba and his wages because he's one of the top 5 paid players at Real Madrid. He's taking tons of wages and he's been injured a lot. That's how it's looking like at Real Madrid. So to me, this is a team that's moving a bit broke, if you ask me. They haven't sold the player really for a high fee yet. Unless Rodrigo, they could sell him, but it seems like Rodrigo's being a bit, not stubborn, but it's difficult selling a player that really wants to be there, and then he has a very short list of teams he's willing to go to. You took too long. That's my thing. The Club World Cup really delayed Rodrigo the same way Isak delayed it. So Real Madrid is in a tough pickle, and I believe they're having financial struggles. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Real Madrid has financial struggles like Barcelona, or are they just moving smart? But anyways, thank you guys for watching.